Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
Knowledge for Men is now doing live men's retreats in San Diego, California. Imagine 3 days of intense personal development training with 10 other like-minded men all pursuing greatness in life, business, and their relationships. You are not alone on this journey. Come to San Diego and experience The Awakening, a real cutthroat program designed to give you the tools you need to go from where you are now to where you want to be. There are only 10 spots and it's filling up quickly, so go to kfmretreat.com to learn more and apply for the program. Again, that's kfmretreat.com. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm here with Tom Cronin, a former broker in finance, trading inflation swaps and bonds for banks. He is now the leader of the Stillness project, coaching and leading retreats around the world, helping people become stress-free, more alive, and happier. Tom, happy to have you here on the show.
Man, it's great to be here. Thanks for inviting me along.
All right. I'm glad to have you here. And Tom, we jumpstart off every show with a favorite success quote or some sort of saying that the guest lives by that has helped them on their journey. So what do you got for us? And then share with us why you chose that.
Yeah, totally. There's one quote that I use a lot with my students, and I think it's just one of those beautiful quotes with its sound. It's actually a Sanskrit quote, and it is Yogastha Kuru Kamani. What that actually means is established in being, perform action. And why this is such a profound quote for me, and something that I aspire to live by, is that to stabilize oneself in being is the true essence of your own, identity, which is the stillness beyond the action, the stillness beyond the fluctuations of the mind, your emotional state, and your constant change of your physical state. When we base our actions and our thoughts and our emotions in that beingness, in that stillness, then it's like the foundation of who you are. And you're building your house on something solid that doesn't fluctuate and change. And it really is just a blissful way of living life. And that's our sanctuary. That's our invincibility, is that stillness of being that we base our life on.
Okay, so right now, the first thing that I'm thinking is, how does a former broker in finance, trading inflation swaps and bonds for banks come up with something like that and be able to say it so eloquently like you just did? And
yeah, good question.
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Let's dive into your story now of how you got started with what you do. I think this is going to be an interesting journey here. So take the mic, Tom. It's all yours.
All right, cool. So I started out in 1987 as a broker. I was 19 years old. I was a young punk, just been backpacking around the world, and I landed a job that was trading bonds with the investment banks. And it was actually the same year that Jordan Belfort started his job in Wolf of Wall Street. So if anyone's seen that film, you'll have a little bit of an understanding about what the industry was like. It was actually the same industry, the same job. He was a broker, I was a broker. I was 19, he was 22.
I've actually, he was on the show not too long ago.
Wow, there you go. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So there's some parallels there. And, we led very similar lives. I mean, that was no kid you. That was very much what my job was like. We didn't throw any dwarfs, but a lot of the other things were pretty much the same.
You guys had elves over there.
Yeah, that's right. So, look, it was crazy times. We did some crazy things. And, I'm certainly not proud of some of the things we were doing back then. I watched that film and I was actually cringing. I was a bit uncomfortable because that was really the life that I was living. And it was strange to think that was a world that I existed in. But, needless to say, over time, the stress from that life started to have a massive impact on me. So, by day we were trading billions of dollars of bonds and swaps. And then nighttime we had corporate expense accounts. And we just went out, we were doing drugs and drink and, a lot of other things, which I'm not going to share with you. But We'd be finishing at 3, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. Some people were going straight from the bars and the clubs straight to work. They might have an hour sleep under the desk in the same clothes, and they start trading again. And, to live that lifestyle, eventually your nervous system is just going to have a massive implosion. And that's what was happening to me. I was just slowly self-destructing on the inside. And that was coming in the way of, insomnia and anxiety and stress. But then it just became more and more extreme to eventually these full-blown panic attacks, like out of control panic attacks where I'd be curled up in a ball and just not being able to leave the house. And eventually this sort of metamorphosed into depression, which was a deep, dark clinical depression where I was just morose. And then eventually I couldn't leave the house at all.
How long did you maintain this lifestyle, like as a trader and going through this type of lifestyle before you realized like something is not right?
Yeah, look, it was a slow, gradual sort of, turning up the volume type thing. When I started was 19, we were just out drinking, and then you sort of move into the drugs, and then you did the later nights, and then it just became this sort of deep, ingrained lifestyle. So it was a good sort of 8 to 9 years, from the age of 19 to probably 28, 29, around that 29 was when things totally self-combusted. And that's what I would call was probably my nadir, that breaking point where I reached, I use the term bifurcation, which is an engineering term where something either breaks down or it evolves. And I was in that breaking down phase to the point where I was questioning whether I wanted to live with life. And then I broke through rather than broke down and went to a new level of evolution. That's when I started to look into alternative ways of living than what I was doing.
Wow.
So what that, just a little bit more knowledge on that, what direction that took was obviously when I had the breakdown, I went to doctors because I didn't know what the hell was going on. I was having extreme panic attacks and depression. And I didn't know what that was. I just knew I was feeling like I was dying. But it wasn't until I saw a doctor finally that he said, look, this is what's happening to you. You're having this, you're experiencing this, and you're literally having a breakdown. And that was like a really demoralizing day for me. I distinctly recall that, I just couldn't stop crying. I was walking the streets like one of those crazy homeless people. And he sent me to one of the top psychiatrists and said, you got to see this guy. And this guy had all these plaques along his wall saying how incredibly talented he was at his job. And he said, you're stressful by nature. You need to go on antidepressants. And look, that may well have been a great diagnosis, but it was certainly something that I really vibed. And I just thought I had to find another way. I just didn't want to go down that path. So I looked into a lot of alternative methods, and meditation was predominantly the one that I researched a lot into. And I tried a lot of different techniques of meditation, but it was really when I came across one that was supported by a lot of science and was something that I really resonated with, and it blew me away. It was a really quick and changing experience that I had when I started practicing this meditation. It felt like for me, it was what I'd been looking for all my life.
What practice is that?
Predominantly, I guess it would come under the brand of transcendental meditation, which now also has things like Vedic meditation and primordial sound technique. So it's a meditation using particular mantras that enable the mind to transcend beyond thinking level. Okay,
so this will be interesting, but look, if you could hear yourself talking right now, when you were in, let's say, 24 years old, what do you think he would say?
He wouldn't need me listening. He's just like, hippie dude, what the heck are you talking about? Yeah, totally. It's just not what I was ready for. But the way I look at it with my students, and I've taught thousands of people how to meditate now. Everyone's just literally in a point of research. Everything we're all doing is just researching for fulfillment, reaching for the truth of life. And whether it's doing crack cocaine or robbing a bank or sitting in a monastery in Tibet, we're all still looking for fulfillment. We're all searching for some way of elevating our life. And, for me, I was enjoying that. I loved doing what I was doing, going to raves and clubs and bars and having, corporate expense accounts and lining up shots of Zambuca. And, for me, that was just, I was researching fulfillment and I was having fulfillment. But it's just that level of fulfillment and that source of fulfillment came with a massive karmic debt. And this is the thing, is that some fulfillment comes with huge levels of karmic debt and some don't. So that's why I had exhausted that level of fulfillment. and it's no longer relevant for me in my life.
Wow. And I'm wondering, like, how did you find out about, because you could have taken so many different paths to recovery, and what led you down this path? And also, did you try other paths that didn't work out for you?
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. I definitely researched nearly everything there was out there, from Qigong and Tai Chi and yoga and massage and acupuncture. And I just researched and researched. And then I went into meditation. And even just with meditation, there was like chakra cleansing and Vipassana style breath meditation and, energy clearing. There was, just really, I just looked at all modalities. And even today, I'm still researching, to be honest with you. I have my core practice, which is my twice daily meditation. I still incorporate yoga in my life. I still incorporate levels of Qigong in my life. I still incorporate lots of other things. And I just think it's really about having a holistic approach to wellness, which is every facet of my life, the books that I read, the people that I hang around, the things that I do when I wake up. This morning I was down the beach, I meditated at sunrise. I did 3 minutes of sun gazing this morning, which is when the sun can be either at the lowest point when it rises or when it sets. And you gaze directly into the sun for a period of time, and the rays of that light literally go into your bloodstream and purify your system. And it's quite a natural phenomenon for people to do sun gazing, which is a very powerful process as well. So, there's just so many modalities that you can embrace, and I incorporate a lot of them.
Yeah, it sounds like you've really explored a lot of things and really trying to find that thing that works for you. For someone who doesn't meditate, how would you explain it to them? How do we really bring ourselves to the present moment? Like, how do you guide people through that process when they're beginners?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. So just so much knowledge around meditation, and it's really important that when we're learning to meditate that we have a very qualified person to assist you in that process, because there's so many things that come up through this practice and so many things you're going to experience and so many things you need to understand about the mechanics. So if someone's just starting out with meditation, firstly, I just suggest, look, point blank, you're not going to be able to sit still and keep that mind still. It's just not going to happen. So let go of the attachment to the idea that you're going to still your mind and keep it still for long periods of time. And there's scientific reasons why this is the case. Stillness of mind is something that, if that is your practice, to actually still the mind, then it's something that will take a long time, and have a very stress-free body is required to actually have that. You can get glimpses of when the mind becomes still through meditation practices. But if you've got stress in your body, what's going to happen is that if you still your mind, your body, being a printout of your mind, will physiologically go into a very deep state of rest, because every neural activity, every sort of thought in the mind, there's this corresponding sort of shift in the physiology. So there's an action there, and your body's constantly engaged in that process of mental activity. But when your mind becomes still, then the body it becomes very, very still and very, very quiet. But that then starts this unlocking of stress process. And really meditation, for me, what I teach is meditation is not about stilling the mind. That's not our objective. And what's the point of that? Meditation is about having a still enough mind so that the physiology goes into a deep enough state of rest, so that then you can release the stress that's distorting your ability to actually experience the present moment, experience the bliss of who you are, experience the lightness of being. So meditation is the portal to experience a more fulfilling life, rather than meditation being the goal.
Can you repeat that one more time? I think that was really powerful.
Yeah, so a lot of people think meditation is the goal. Meditation is just the portal that is going to give you an experience that's more fulfilling. And this actually happens through a purification that happens in the body when we get a still mind and we get a body into a deep enough state of rest that allows this purification process to unfold. So really, a lot of people get very attached to the meditation being the goal, but really meditation is the portal to a point of experience that we can have. And really, ultimately, what we're all searching for is not meditation. What we're searching for is a more fulfilling experience.
And the benefit of using meditation on a daily basis has given you and others What?
It gives them an increased flow of serotonin and oxytocin ultimately. Every sensation you have in your body is a result of biochemicals moving through your bloodstream. And to have the most highest form of biochemicals moving consistently through our bloodstream, which would be oxytocin and serotonin, the biochemicals for love and bliss or love and happiness, to have them increase in their production and flow through your body, meditation's been found and proven to be one of the most useful tools that we can have. The impediment to having those biochemicals flowing through our body is obviously stress, because when you're stressed, you're in fight-flight. And when you're in fight-flight, your body simply won't produce those biochemicals. Point blank, it just won't produce them. And what your body does produce when you're in fight-flight is cortisol and adrenaline and norepinephrine. These are the biochemicals that enable you to move fast, to get out of trouble, to increase your blood flow, to increase your oxygen intake, to produce more sugar in your body so that you've got more energy. And these are the things that enable you to get out of very tricky life and death situations. But the problem is most of us are producing these biochemicals most of the time because we've got deadlines at work and we're trying to get through traffic on a freeway.
Yeah.
And so, we're just not in that state of bliss and love. We're not in that state of serotonin and oxytocin pulsing through our body. So what I found was that through the meditation practice, it removes the stress response, increases the rest and digest state, which increases the blood flow of oxytocin and serotonin.
And these are really good benefits. So how long should a meditation practice be, let's say on a daily basis, to really start seeing results?
Yeah, look, I keep it pretty simple. I recommend 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the afternoon. Why I recommend that is simply because the level of demand we're putting on our mind and our body and our nervous system in today's world, it's quite amazing what we're putting our system through. We think it's kind of normal what we do right now, but it really isn't, and it's something that our body is really struggling to keep up with. And so we have a great deal of fatigue and stress in our society simply because of the amount of demands that we have. I mean, how much time are we spending just sitting around under a tree? You look at tribal cultures, they spend a lot of time doing that, just being in nature. They go often daily to hunt and gather, but even then they're just kind of moving effortlessly and gracefully through nature. And if they had to go on a chase to hunt something down, they would. But most of the time they were spending in a very calm state, surrounded by nature. Whereas we're spending very little time just sitting around. When we are sitting around, we're actually stimulating our system quite a lot through things like Facebook and Twitter and TV shows and movies and sitting down drinking alcohol. So I'd recommend morning meditation for 20 minutes and afternoon meditation for 20 minutes.
Yep. I think we often think about like an hour-long meditation and it's like, it sounds great, but I mean, how consistent can I be at that? I don't know. So I think the 20 minutes to get started, I think is a good time frame. And I think maybe when you start feeling those benefits, you probably will just become addicted to that meditation.
Yeah, you should start feeling, if you're doing the meditation that I teach, you'd start to feel definitely benefits within the first week.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I've had people within the first 2 days start to feel benefits. For me, I was getting benefits in the first day or two.
Wow. It's like we hear about it so often, but how do you help people stay consistent with their meditation practice?
That's all going to come down to what practice you choose to do. So some meditation practices require a lot of discipline. They're not enjoyable meditations. They're a discipline that requires you to say, I'm committed to this and I'm going to do it. I know it's not enjoyable, but I know it's good for me, so I'm going to do it. And that's the ones where you've got to force the mind to focus on one thing or force the mind to be still. The mind, it just doesn't want to do that. Like, let's just cut to the chase. The mind does not want to be still. It just finds that an incredibly boring proposition, and it's not what the mind's here to do. The mind is here to analyze, to digest, to process, to go into the future, to go back into the past. And this is where the mind flourishes. So it's where the mind comes alive, and it's where the mind experiences a lot of charm. But we can actually get the mind with the lure of a mantra to move into a stiller state. And so these mantras make the process very effortless and charming. So that's why I choose this meditation in my online programs called Faster, Deeper Bliss. And this is, people used to say to me, you're so disciplined with your meditation. I'm like, you know what, when you say that, what it's implying is that discipline is doing something you don't want to do, but doing it because you think you should. But for me, my meditation practice was so blissful and so charming that it was something that I look forward to it every day. It's the most enjoyable part of my day because the levels of bliss that are produced in the body, simply because we use this mantra. And the mantra really is the key to this being an enjoyable practice. And the reason being is that the mind doesn't want to sit still. It just finds that boring. So forcing it to do something it doesn't want to do is a friction. And frictions are uncomfortable. But if you introduce a sound, the mind's like, well, this is kind of really fascinating. I don't mind this. This is actually quite an enjoyable experience. Just exploring the repetition of this sound is quite a soothing experience. And so what it does is it removes the friction and it replaces it with charm. And then therefore it's a pleasurable experience.
Sounds like to me, like what I'm getting from this is that meditation is almost like the key to kind of taking control of your mind or having more control of your mind versus your mind controlling you.
I absolutely do. That's just so spot on, and I'm so glad you said that because that is the key for most people. And for me, in my life, my mind had complete authority over me. Complete authority. It just dictated terms in my life. Now my consciousness, my awareness, my wisdom has a lot more authority. I have to say it hasn't got complete authority. My mind still does become a little cheeky bugger and get involved and mess things up a little bit every now and then with a little bit of self-sabotage or, being a little bit cheeky and taking me down paths that it probably shouldn't be taking me down. But, there's certainly a lot more awareness and there's, a lot more authority that I have over the mind where now I get to choose what my mind thinks. I get to choose where my mind goes on a daily basis. And that's a totally different experience now.
Seems like it's very liberating. It sounds like this is a freeing experience. Can you share some examples of clients or people that you've helped on some of your retreats and the type of things that, how it's transformed their lives?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just 2 weeks ago, I had a couple ring me up that were in a state of bother and she'd been in hospital with anxiety and he was in all sorts of dire straits and as far as anxiety and breaking down. And I said, look, they wanted therapy. And I said, this is not going to, we can talk till you're blue in the face, but ultimately your body needs to go into a deep state of rest through meditation. And that's going to start the healing process. And then you're going to start to have a little bit more control over your mind. So there's not thinking about all the possible outcomes that are negative. And you're going to start to choose the outcomes you'd like to think about in your mind and create different outcomes. And so we started meditating and, after 3 days of doing the course, she sent me an email of just how much more grounded she was, how much more calmer she felt, how much more grounded he felt. And that they were starting to feel positive about getting creative about the solutions to their situation rather than just having fear and panic about possible negative outcomes. And that was just like literally 2 weeks ago. But, on longer term things, I had a student 12 months ago that was in a disastrously turbulent relationship where they were always fighting and she was always getting abused. She was in a job that she didn't enjoy. She was suffering with panic attacks and depression. And she really just couldn't see any possible positive outcome for her life. And she was just at her wit's end and she'd come along to my free Monday night sessions. And she used to come in really quietly and sit in the corner and she had a real dark cloud over her head and she never really spoke. And one day afterwards, I just got chatting to her about where she was at in life. And because a lot of people just turn up to these free Monday night meditations that I put on and then they leave. I don't really get to know much about their story unless they want to sign up for the course. But I got chatting to her and she started to share with me where she's at and I recommended the course. And 12 months later, she now has this amazing job at one of the top companies in Australia, left that disastrous relationship. It's in a really healthy, beautiful, nourishing relationship with another really conscious guy. Like attracts like, right? She just started doing some wonderful nutrition courses and looking to translate her sort of career into a more holistic career of helping other people now that she's finding her life is just flourishing. So I see that all the time where people go from a state of need to a state of service.
A place of need to a place of service. That's a complete change in lifestyle right there.
Yeah, and that really comes from a place of realizing that when your needs are fulfilled through the connection to your deeper essence, which is this saying that I come back to, Yogastha Kuru Kamani, that when you're established in being, you're established in the source of all fulfillment. And when you operate from that space, you start to operate from a space of, wow, I've got so much. I have so much fulfillment here, so much love and so much light that how am I going to share this with the world? How am I going to give this to humanity? Because I can't hold it all into myself. It's too much. I've got an overflow here to share.
It's like coming from the mind frame of not what can I get, but what can I give?
Yeah, totally.
And now, Tom, this has been really good. I'm learning a ton about meditation and how it's helping people. Let's jump into something I call the knowledge round. So I'm just going to ask you some rapid fire questions here. So, Tom, are you ready for the knowledge round?
Far away, bud.
Someday I'll go after my dreams. Someday I'll take action. Wouldn't the world be a better place if we were all inspired? If the world wasn't full of uninspiring people? We're all taught that life is tough. Life is hard. But the awful truth is that life is easy. It's pretty easy to live and do just enough. But truly living, chasing your dreams is hard. What are you dying to do? What is it that lights a fire in your heart? Don't wait till someday to answer this question. There is nothing more important than figuring that out. We're all dying, but if you're not chasing your dream, then you're already dead. Guys, go to kfmretreat.com to apply for my retreat that will change everything. Go to kfmretreat.com to apply and be part of a program that will be a catalyst for redefining your life. Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime. But the first question I have for you, Tom, is, I'll just say, it seems like you're just really living kind of like your purpose, so to speak. Like you've really discovered kind of your why, and it's helping you kind of flourish in this space that you're in compared to where you were in your 20s. That's at least what I'm feeling. And I'm wondering, what advice would you give to someone else who is feeling kind of lost or unsure of what they should do or unsure of their purpose?
Yeah, that's a great question. It comes with two levels to it. The first level is start to daily get out of the mind where a lot of your deep conditioned thinking is, and a lot of your neediness exists in that egoic state. First and foremost, start meditating daily so that you do start to establish yourself in the being. And then from that space, I would really recommend on any level, start to find a way to be relevant. This is really important for a man and for women, but for men, it's a really important thing that we have a sense of relevance, a sense of significance. And for me, it just started off where I started planting trees. I'd buy these $1 tube stock of trees from a wholesaler down out, outside of Sydney. I'd plant them around in parks and streets, and I'd set up, a guerrilla tree planting program in Sydney. So I felt like I was contributing in some way. And then I moved into working in a soup kitchen every Saturday while I was working as a broker. And, for 12 months, I turned up on a Saturday morning just to serve soup and coffees to the homeless guys and sit down and chat with them. And then that transformed even further into, doing my teacher training in meditation and teaching meditation. But I think first and foremost is start meditating and then find a way to be relevant in some way, shape or form. Find a way to start contributing to humanity. And that can be anything from like rock on up and doing some, volunteer work at a soup kitchen, helping some kids at soccer training or whatever. I think, feel like you're contributing is really important. And we're kind of forgetting to do this a lot in our lives because we're all about me and what can I get?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And Tom, that was very, very powerful. Tom, what was holding you back from becoming the man you are now today?
I was, to be honest with you, I was really narcissistic, and I still think there's elements of that hanging around the damn thing. It's just about, putting me in front of everything, and satisfying my desires in front of everyone. And that was what was truly holding me back, was just this constantly being a really selfish, narcissistic person. And I think that comes from stress. Stress, when you're in a stress state, you're really only concerned about your own welfare. Ultimately, that's what happens when we're stressed. It's a very selfish state that we go into when we're stressed. And this is a problem with the planet, is we just have too many people that are stressed. When you're stressed, all you're doing is caring about your own survival and your own fulfillment.
Yeah. And on your journey, have you had someone who's kind of been a mentor to you, someone who's had a tremendous impact on your journey so far? If so, who is this person, and how have they helped you?
Absolutely. There was one man that I think played a key role in bringing me out of the state that I was in. He was the man that taught me to meditate. He's a great rishi. His name is Tom Knowles. He's based in Flagstaff, Arizona, but he was here in Paddington, Sydney. And I have so much love and respect for this person because of what he taught me and the way he taught me so eloquently this wonderful Vedic tradition and wonderful Vedic knowledge. It was really someone throwing me the life buoy when I was drowning.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. And was there ever a moment where this person gave you some very impactful words of advice that really made an impact on you?
Man, like it was like every week. I did countless retreats and hours upon hours of lectures. I sat at the feet of this master, and he played a very large integral role in me learning pretty much a lot of what I know today. Not that he was really giving me information, it was more that he was revealing what I already know, and he was teaching me how to access what we already know. And I think that was the key to it, is that this is not about revering the guru, because really the guru is just someone is just directing you to what you already are, assisting you in discovering what your ultimate truth is, rather than them being the source of truth or them being the source of knowledge. And a lot of people fall into this trap, and this is why I will certainly never claim any status of guru. Really anyone comes to me that's looking for answers, I'm just directing them to the source that's within them.
So really helping people just unlock what's already inside of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think that's what this podcast is for many, many guys listening. It's they're already on their path, and this is just a tool to help them learn from other guys like yourself. And,
yeah, I like that. It's cool.
Yeah. And I got a scenario here for you, Tom. Imagine you had 60 seconds with your 20-year-old self. What would you tell him to do, and what would you tell him not to do?
I'd tell him to start meditating straight away. And to give a little bit more to humanity. Yeah. Anything
you tell him not to do?
You know what? My first thought would be say, don't touch the drugs. But you know what? I don't know I'd say that. I'd say get your research done, whatever you need to do, get it out of the way fast and furious. My recommendation, of course, would be to stay away from drugs, but because it had such a deteriorating effect on my life. And so I guess that's probably the one thing I'd say, is that just go down that slippery slope, believing that those drugs are going to offer you fulfillment.
Wow. Yeah. And I think that's a place where even if it's not drugs, but for someone else, it could be gambling, it could be other addictions, it could be drinking, it could be pornography. There's just so many things that we can use. So, if it's kind of like an open set there.
Yeah. Any addiction really. It's just,
yeah,
exactly.
And now just kind of looking back at where you were, let's say, as a broker, I guess, and to where you are now, like, inside that journey, you've walked away and still are, continuing to learn. The journey is never ending. But what would you say is your philosophy on life and success and happiness?
Wow, that's a big question, man. It's just, this thing keeps coming back to me that it's so finite. Me as Tom, okay, life itself is this ongoing sort of beautiful, expansive journey that continues through incarnation after incarnation and beyond. But as Tom, in this incarnation, with my family and friends and being at the beach this morning, it's just such a gift. It's just such an honor to be living this journey. It's so easy for us to underappreciate it and to not have gratitude for it. But it's just about pausing throughout the moments of the day and just really having gratitude for the gift that we have to be living right now. when it's funny, the panic people have when they've been given a period of time when their life is over, or it might be the last dying moments of their life. And there's this sort of sense of panic about, oh my God, it's over. It's like, but, we have such little gratitude for it while it's happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we tend to have so much suffering. Yet, have you even looked at the leaf on a flower, or, the incredible design of the clouds that are floating across the sky, or, this morning, the sun coming up over the ocean and the rays just hitting your skin, and the beautiful tingling sensation of the warmth of that fireball that's millions of kilometers away, just giving you that beautiful sensation of warmth on your skin. I mean, it's just a blessing, and we need to really spend a lot more time just pausing to be grateful for the magnificence of the life that we have.
Wow. To really embrace and be grateful for this present moment, because it's really the only moment. Like I get it. I get what you're saying here.
Yeah.
All right, and that's going to conclude the knowledge on that. that was quite a lot to think about there, and a lot to take in. But I know it's going to be very impactful for the listeners. But Tom, what's exciting you today? Like, what's really driving you right now?
Yeah, at the moment I'm making a feature film, which I'm really pumped about. That's why I was a little bit late for our call today. Sorry.
Yeah. So, what's it about? What's going on there?
Yeah, the film's called Superhuman. We've got the director of The Secret, Drew Harriet. He's writing and directing this film. I'm working with him on the creative aspect. We've got an amazing team, incredible team put together. We've got our funding arrived, and we greenlight this in about 2 to 3 weeks' time. And it's a 12-month process. We'll be looking to release this in Cannes 2016, and it's an exciting project where we'll be really revealing to humanity the innate superhuman capabilities that we all have and how we can access them. And it's just going to blow people away. It's a really exciting project.
Wow. I'm looking forward to that. I'm probably a lot of other, guys like yourself who are involved. And
yeah, we've got a great team that's, all very aligned with our core philosophies.
Is this a book coming out as well, or just a film?
No, there'll be plenty. There'll be books, films, soundtracks. There'll be all sorts of goodies.
Oh man,
yeah.
The whole shebang. It's coming.
The whole gamut. Yeah, you got it.
All right. Maybe as you're getting closer back to that, we'll circle back and touch base and get
Absolutely.
you back on.
That'd be great.
Yeah, go ahead and give yourself a plug on how the audience can follow up with you moving forward.
Sure. Thanks so much. Look, head over to stillnessproject.com. We've got lots of goodies there. We've got our store there. And, if you want to learn meditation from me, you can learn a wonderful meditation program, Faster, Deeper Bliss, 21-day meditation program that gets delivered straight to your email. And you have a dashboard with all the videos in it. We have retreats as well. We've got one coming up in May. Guys, I've got this retreat in Bali in May. It's the most incredible location up in the mountains of north of Ubud. And we do this once or twice a year up there in Bali, and it's the most beautiful location. And I've got 24 women coming on this retreat and 2 guys, and I've got 3 spots left. So fellas, if you want to come on an amazing experience and balance out the ledger a little bit between the yin and the yang on this retreat, it'd be awesome to have more guys come along. It's going to blow you away. Wow. So that's one thing to check out. You'll find that on our website.
All right. Thanks for the update there. And Tom, it's been a pleasure having you be on our show and just being vulnerable, sharing your story and life lessons here with my community, and giving us a really good look at how meditation can transform our lives in a positive way. So thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Andrew. Great to be here, guys. Thanks for taking time out to listen.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge from Men podcast. Hundreds of interviews and 1 million downloads later, we're continuing to build an international movement, and we've just started. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a review in iTunes. It really helps to grow the podcast. Guys, 2015 is the official year of living with purpose, where every day you do only the things that matter to you. You wake up, live with purpose, and take massive action towards the life you want. Check out kfmfree.com to get free tools I've created to help you crush life. Again, that's kfmfree.com. This is your host, Andrew Fairby, and I'll see you in the next episode.